taller than the Seattle Space Needle. That is called the Tower of the Americas.
I am a
Now stood as the centerpiece of the 1968 World's Fair held right here in town. There are two ways to get yourself to the top of that tower. Number one, you can take a 43-second elevator ride. Or number two, you can actually climb by foot all 952 stairs inside. We sometimes have races to the top of that tower. The all-time record set back in 1981 by a 16-year-old local high school sophomore, never beaten again, 5 minutes and 18 seconds. As a reminder, please don't smoke or vape on the boat. Just be polite to your neighbors on that one. I got my vape in my pocket.
What wants to smoke here?
To use it. Every 2 years, by the way, yes, every other year, the city comes in and cleans out the bottom of the river downtown, where they discover and have to drag out of here no fewer than 500 lost cell phones.
These girls are blocking the view.
If you guys look to my right-hand side, directly on my right, you'll see up there over the treetops, you'll see a church steeple up there. That belongs to St. Joseph's Catholic Church. That was built here by Germans way back in the 1860s. Not many people associate the city with much of a German heritage. Turns out we have a very long, very rich German history here. If you're skeptical of that, open a map to San Antonio and I'll tell you what you'll find. Our city is surrounded on all sides, multiple layers deep by old German towns. Places like Selma, Fredericksburg, Bernie, Kerrville, Lufkin, Nummedorf, Schertz, New Braunfels, just to name a few. In fact, inside New Braunfels is a massive, famous water park called Schlitterbahn. You don't get any more German than that. It means slippery road in German. I've mentioned all this because right here where I'm driving this boat, this is an artificial river extension. This wasn't here until the 1960s. What used to stand right here was an old German neighborhood. But to build this extension, the city came in, they knocked down all their buildings, and they kicked out, expelled all 1,600 residents. The only thing left standing is that church back there called St. Joseph's, where the choir still sings in German on Sundays. All right, folks, with that, we're going to take a left-hand turn onto the natural part of the river. Exit the man-made and go onto the natural part. That's where we'll spend most of the rest of our time
I'm
together.
just scared. I'm just
As we
scared.
make left,
The monster's
it will also
gonna
now
come
bring
out
into
of the
view
boat
a very large,
come out of the river
very
and
plain, very
then we're gonna
white,
be in the
ordinary,
water.
rather unremarkable looking hotel.
That is
I'll drive right by it
life.
for you. Here it is emerging into view now. On the left-hand side around the corner, the Hilton Palacio del Rio Hotel, means palace on the river. This is in fact no ordinary hotel, because back in 1968, this Hilton found its way into the Guinness Book of World Records for being the fastest hotel of its size ever constructed on Earth. Here's how they built it. Every one of these hotel rooms inside the Hilton was constructed individually on an assembly line 8 miles off-site, just south of downtown. When they were complete, they were each put aboard their own flatbed truck, shipped up here, dropped off on the side of the river, and spread out on the land. It was there on the ground. Each room is lined up and fully furnished from wall to wall, floor to ceiling, all the way up to check-in ready status. That's from the beds all the way to the Gideon Bibles, they like to say. When that process was over, the rooms were hooked up to a giant crane, lifted up, 75,000 pounds a room, stacked up on top of each other and snapped into place like Legos. That's how just about the entire hotel, floor 5 and above, was built back in 1968. This Hilton, a 500-room project, was built from start to finish in less than 8 months. That was a world record at the time. That's the story of the Hilton. That is a building technique called modular construction, still used today to build things like cruise ships. This line is for the same reason as you. It's one of our 3 boat docks. We have 3 different ticketing locations, same tour. And that takes us, my friends, now into my favorite corner of the Riverwalk. Directly in front of the boat, situated upon a stone wall up there, is a place called La Villita. It means a small village in Spanish. All those buildings up there are built back in 1722 to house Spanish soldiers. That makes La Villita the very first neighborhood ever constructed in San Antonio, Texas. ever. If you go through now, it's bars, cafes, restaurants, little shops. Structurally, pretty much just how it was 3 centuries ago. We're now going to enter the 1941 Arneson Theater. We'll split it right down the middle. We have seating for 800. The bleachers are made out of grass. They're watered every morning at 7:30 by the city. On the other side is a stage. People always ask me, do we use the Arneson Theater? And the answer is yes. All kinds of shows take place down here at the Arneson. Showtime tonight, 8:30 p.m. I believe there's a cover, but sometimes there's not. By the way, if that Arneson Theater back there looks at all familiar, it might be because you watched a movie called Miss Congeniality starring Sandra Bullock. One of the big scenes shot back there at the Arneson way back in the year 2000. Have a good look around you guys back here. The trees get really big. These are the gigantic cypress trees of the downtown area. Each of these trees, native to where it stands, at least 250 years of age. If you guys turn to the right, there's a large statue here of a cowboy in longhorns directly on my right-hand side. That accompanies the Briscoe Western Art Museum. Kind of an old Wild West museum there. All kinds of artifacts from the 17 and 1800s. There's a large interactive diorama of the Battle of the Alamo over there. That's the Briscoe Museum. Used to be our public library right there at the Briscoe.
I don't want flashlight.
Straight ahead now, this little bridge. Have a good look at the Preston Street Bridge coming up because, well, you might never see one like it again. It's a real rarity in the world. This is what they call an ornamental iron bridge. Only 25 exist in the country, just about half of them right here in San Antonio. Passing under the bridge. If you're seated, no need to duck. You're not going to hit your head. You're okay. Just don't stand up under it. So coming up next, right down here on the surface of the water, on the right-hand side, I'm going to point it out for you. We're coming across a small island. If you're seated on my left, feel free to stand up and have a look at the island if you guys like. It's right here. The first thing on it, a small iron structure called Father Massaday's Table. Now, passing by this island, give it a careful look. It is made entirely out of the roots of the cypress tree that grows out of it. This island is shaped like a heart. That is what we call Marriage Island. Some 200 to 300 couples either propose or get married on Marriage Island right there every single year.
Know that we would go here.
And legend has it, if you get married on Marriage Island, your marriage will not only be a happy one, but it will last you for the rest of your life. Take it from me, I got married right there. Yeah. 3 times. Yeah. It works. Thank you. On my right-hand side here, we got Divorce Island. That's Divorce Island.
This has been a long journey. I don't think it.
Right there, Divorce Island, man. Been there twice. Shoots for a 3rd time. It's very shallow right here. It's called Old Mill Crossing. Right here is where Teddy Roosevelt and the Rough Riders crossed in the 1890s. Now, you guys got here before the lines got real long tonight. Tonight, the boats will explode with passengers, but it will not be nearly as busy as the busiest time of the year. That's the Christmas season. Because during that time, if you come down for a boat ride around Christmas, you will see that every tree on the tour will be dripping with Christmas lights. They're turned on every night at 5 p.m. and lines to get on boats will be a quarter of a mile in length.
Just here to enjoy the cruise, though.
All right, folks, here we are now, directly on my left-hand side, directly on my left. There it is, towering 400 feet into the air, capped off by the American flag way up there. That is what we call the Tower Light Building. Anybody ever see the original Ghostbusters movie? Yeah. That's not it.
That's massive. Say that's massive.
That's an octagonal building built back in 1929. That was purchased brand new for $3 million by 2 guys called the Smith & Youngs. They're the ones who had the gargoyles installed there at the top of the Tower of Life. Those are rain spouts about 6 feet long apiece. That's how they put those up there to ward off any bad luck you might encounter in the world of business or real estate.
Oh God.
Now look straight ahead of us.
No.
12 o'clock. Up there across the street is a massive red sandstone building. People always think that's a church when they first see it because it looks like it's got a steeple. That is not a church. And I can assure you, you don't want to confess any sins in there. That's the Bexar County Courthouse. Been in operation now since 1897. By the way, on the right-hand side here, this green building is called the International Center. That contains some of the trade offices for the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. Also used to be our library. Here's where I got honk the horn for a moment. Don't be alarmed. Just telling traffic we're coming on out. Two things going on here. Number one, we are now passing over a floodgate that lies beneath the boat right now. And we're now going to make a right-hand turn onto an artificial flood channel. During times of flooding, heavy rain, that gate back there pops up, traps all the water right here, sends it behind us to our left, all the way to the Gulf of Mexico, about 240 miles away. Like I said, this is our flood channel. This was put here because of the great rainstorm of 1921. In September of that year, a single storm, which we now know was a Category 1 hurricane, nailed our city with 17 inches of rain. That put downtown up there under 9 feet of water. That swept away 50 people in 36 hours, and that's why we have our flood channel. This has now been here since 1941, and because of it, our downtown hasn't flooded since, not one time, not by 1 foot. Pretty effective system. Now look back behind me, on top of that bridge back there, straight back behind me. On top of the bridge is a chain link fence, attached to which are tens of thousands of padlocks. It's called Lovelock Bridge, and here's what you do. You and your soulmate go on top of that bridge, bring with you a padlock with their names on it, attach it to the fence, take the key, throw it off the bridge. They say once that key hits the water, your love is locked into place for eternity.
That is weird. That is very, very weird. That is so weird. Who would want to do that?
On my right-hand side here, we got the Dream Plaza Hotel. This building goes back to 1929 as the old Alamo National Bank. Now I'm going to slow down just a bit here. Look to my left this time, all the way to my left, about a block and a half away. Through some trees, almost a bit behind the boat. I'm going to point it out as we pass. I'll point right at it. You'll see 2 twin stone towers up against the gray sky through the trees. Can you make those out? Those belong to the San Fernando Cathedral. That cathedral is to this day the longest operating Catholic church of any kind in Texas. They've been serving Sunday Mass in there since the 1730s.
Good, I don't
By
hope
the way,
it falls
inside
off.
the cathedral lie the ashes of none other than Davy Crockett himself.
Oh, not this weird thing again.
Straight ahead, directly ahead. There it stands, my friends, the godfather of all cypress trees here in the downtown area. That is called the Milam tree, M-I-L-A-M, named after Texas patriot Ben Milam, who was shot and killed by a Mexican sniper perched up in that very tree back in 1835. Today, this old tree, 100 feet tall, 500 years old.
Oh, good, we're back.
And that takes us now to the other floodgate that protects downtown, right in front of us. This floodgate here comes down like a guillotine or a garage door. Look up there, that is a 5,000-pound door. They can send that down so fast it would just about chop the boat in 2 pieces. And, I have to get through here now because they are testing it in 10 seconds. Just kidding, we're okay. I'm not supposed to tell that joke no more. And that puts us back onto the natural part. That door, by the way, is right here overhead. Actually takes about 13 minutes to lower it from top to bottom. Last time that door was used, about 2 years ago.
Whoa, why is this going so
slow?
slow?
Now, up ahead of us, on my right by that pink boat, you will see a 2-story stone building on the right. That, my friends, is called the Esquire Tavern. This is the oldest bar, not only anywhere in the city, this is no doubt one of the oldest bars in Texas. No one even knows how far back it goes because it predates records. Well, we do know about the Esquire is that inside nothing has been changed out since the 1920s when it was a speakeasy.